I just believe in the process, and we're going to win going through the process.
Now, Bills Mafia, it's time for the main event. So sit back and enjoy the show.
Hello and welcome to another episode of Red, White and Buffalo Blues, a UK Bills podcast, Bills news with a UK twist. And joining me and Alex, you can see we have three friends. Yay! We have from Bills from Afar podcast, Charlie. We have,
How you doing?
as you know, some people know, he's been on a few draft shows with us. We've got Chris Spencer.
Evening.
And we've got another one of the mods from the Facebook group. We've got Chris Wild. Chris, very nice to meet you. Nice to see you all guys on the show.
Great to be here.
So we're going to start off. I'm going to speak to you, Chris, because everyone probably knows how Charlie became a Bills fan by if they've listened to the Bills from Afar podcast. Obviously, you know me and Alex, and obviously Chris Spencer. He's come and told us a couple of times. How really did you become a Buffalo fan?
So I'm a Stockport County fan for football-wise, our football, and I don't know if anyone's familiar with Stockport County, but we've had some really, really tough times, and I know Matt, we've played West Ham a few times, so you will be, and I just started getting really disenchanted with the game in general, and with my own club. There's been lots of issues there, and I just started moving away from football, just our UK football, and I was looking for something else, and stumbled across, I think it was a Ravens game or something like that on Channel 4. And I was like, oh well, what's this? I've always been brought up that NFL is it's rugby but with pads, you know, it's for soft lads, you know, you can't play rugby. Yeah.
I hear that a lot from people.
Yeah.
Whenever I talk about football, I always hear, "Oh, it's like rugby with pads, just Kevlar." Like,
and you can tell they've never watched it. And you quickly find out that it's absolutely not that. And it sounds really cheesy, but I was just watching games, and I didn't pick the Bills. I don't know. There's just something about them. I don't know whether it's it was the underdog mentality, and what we're following my football team, Stockport County, always being the underdog, and the same colours, and what was the phrase we all hate, the blue collar town, you know, from Stockport, and it just kind of snowballed from there really, and NFL and particularly the Bills just became just my passion, and it's never stopped really.
what year?
It was about 10-11 years ago, so it was about right 2011, something like that.
How the hell does someone become a Bills fan?
I know, yeah, exactly.
Oh my god!
I mean, I've kind of cheated, really, haven't I? Because you know we've started becoming good now, and so I've only really had say 7 or 8 years of pain, but
that's still plenty for anybody, you know.
It is. I'm used to following teams that lose every week, and the laughing stock of the leagues. You know, Stockport County had like 3 relegations on a trot at one point, so I'm used to that. It's not about the winning for me. You know, it's about lots of things. You know, the Buffalo as a place. Although I've never been, unfortunately, I really do want to get there. When COVID, you know, stop that from happening. So, but I do relate. You know, obviously, the technology that we've got nowadays, Twitter, Instagram, you see what's going on at tailgates, and you consume all the content from people from Buffalo, and I just relate to a lot of things about the place. And yeah, so that's it. Hooked me in, and I've never looked back. Yeah, absolutely.
Rest is history.
And I'm here with my Bison King T-shirt from all the way from the States. So yeah.
Very nice. I mean, it's always good to know, good to hear everything. I mean, obviously, Alex being the true proud Buffalonian he is, I think it's a very good insight for you, isn't it? How each one of us has actually become a Bills fan.
Absolutely. It's one of those things that you never would think about. Growing up in Buffalo, you think the NFL is just our game. But then when there's an opportunity to see fans internationally, it's like A, it's why.
Yeah.
And then B, it's how. But to get people who understand what Buffalo is, who aren't from Buffalo, it just shed a little tear. It's beautiful. So I love it.
So let's get on with the show. I mean, obviously, the big news just before we came on was the actual trade. There was a trade. Brandon Bean said over the weekend that he'd had calls about the D-line and the trade, and we have finally heard that, and that's Bam Johnson going for a 2022 sixth-round pick to the Panthers. I mean, Chris Spencer. I hate calling that like that, Chris Spencer. But hey ho, what's your feelings?
It's his name.
What's your feelings on this? We'll do that, then we'll jump to Craig, Chris, Alex, and then myself. We'll do that in that order.
My first thoughts are it's great news for our man FA.
Yeah.
This is just going to signal that he is going to be on that roster cut down day, and I couldn't be more happy that we're going to actually be repped in a real regular season game by a British Bill. Sorry, Christian Wade, FA's beaten you to it.
Yeah.
3 years, and he's been overtaken in a matter of months. So, Charlie, anything to add?
I mean, I think he was probably 7th on our depth chart when it comes to defensive ends. So he wasn't going to be getting many snaps. I mean, obviously a lot was made of his special teams ability. We've got a lot of players who were there for special teams as well. So, there's only so many snaps to go around. So I'm not massively surprised. I did wonder whether Addison might get traded, but actually Bam Johnson's probably got a bit more trade value. I mean, Addison's not getting any younger. Declined quite badly, I thought, towards the end of last year. So, it seems like it locks in FA's position, which is great news. I'm pretty happy. I think any incoming draft picks for people that were never really going to take many snaps, I think is fantastic news. So, yeah, happy man.
Chris, you got anything to add?
Yeah, I mean, I do have to say, I have seen a few rumblings on Twitter since the trade of why FA, why not FA, why Bam, and it's totally understandable. But as a fan base, we need to get used to the fact that we are a Super Bowl team now, and we need to, someone like Obada. Yeah, he's not the special team stud that Johnson is, but Abada is going to make the biggest impact on the field on defense week in, week out than in my opinion, than Johnson, and obviously in Bean's opinion. He's a beast. Being able to put him outside and inside, shoring up that middle of the defense as well. We know there's been numerous issues with the run D over the years. It makes sense. It's great for Johnson to get out there and get a new opportunity somewhere else. I'm really pleased for him. But our time is now, and we need to keep hold of the players that are going to impact the team this season. And yeah, I think it was the right move.
And that's one of the things that Bills Mafia does. We fall in love with the players who are on the bubble, because those are the players that you root for. That I would imagine, this case would be true if the NFL did have relegation. The Bills of years past would have always been right there. It would have been crazy to see that. So, in that same sense that those are the players that we root for. Can this guy make the roster? Oh, it was Duke Williams and now it's Daryl Johnson. It's like, but what really is there, you know? I mean, some people have said, oh, is he, you know, the next Wyatt Teller? And it's like, you know, that's an anomaly. I think that's a special case where everybody says he needs a change of scenery. How often does that really happen? You know, it doesn't.
Absolutely.
So let's just take it easy a little bit. You know, from it at the same time, though, the five of us are a little bit too over the moon on FA, possibly because of the situation. It's tough to say, but I absolutely also would have rather had FA just because of I think his story and his motivations, and you know, the personality too. I mean, nothing to take away from the other guy, but yeah, I guess I'm biased too about wanting to keep FA. So
maybe just one other thing though, and just if anyone's been following Matt Perino over the training camp, every day pretty much Matt Perino says FA's been tearing it up and how impressed they have been with FA. So it's not just the preseason games. This has been a long time coming. Remember, they brought him in before they knew they were going to be drafting Rousseau, before they were even getting Boogie Basham. So he was in their plans, and I think it seems like he's progressing even further. So yeah, absolutely, it'd be amazing to see a British player play for the Bills. But the reality is, we all just want the best 53 players on the roster.
Yeah, it also takes two teams to consume a trade as well. So. You know, Daryl Johnson is on his rookie contract. He's cheap. And the Panthers, if they really wanted F.A. Obada, they wouldn't have let him go.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah. Everyone think it's the versatility that Obada brings as another reason. So that's always been my argument with F.A. The fact that he can rush from the inside, rush from the outside. And in the three preseason games, we've seen him get that pressure and actually have some good plays on third and fourth downs coming up from the middle. Everyone agree that that's probably one reason why he's potentially still on the roster. We still got to wait and find out about this over someone like Daryl Johnson, even though he is a special teams stud.
It's the length of F.A. Obada as well in the middle. If you've got him playing defensive tackle, disrupting passing lanes, arms in the air, I think that's something else that counts heavily in his favor.
So we've gone through. Had a third preseason game. We're undefeated again, 19-0 against the Packers. Anyone got any good take, good views, anything they saw, they liked, they hated, think that there could be improvements on?
I mean, I only watched the first quarter, so I don't have much to say other than the fact that Josh Allen looks pretty good, huh? How about him? This guy, you know?
Yeah, you've got to start talking about that touchdown throw to Gabe Davis. I love Steve Tasker's reaction to that. What a hose!
Yeah,
that was some throw. That you look, it's just one throw, and but you look at the way he zipped that in, and just the pure velocity of it. You're like, yeah, this guy's ready. And you know, he was. I can't remember the exact numbers, but the first drive, he was just hitting every target open, throwing them open as well. Yeah, he looked good.
I think he finished for 20 for 26 for 192 yards and 2 touchdowns. I think quarterback rating of 122, I think. That's off the top of my head.
Hey, even if you're a little off on that, that's still really good.
Still pretty good.
Yeah.
It was against the Packers backups. I think we have to remember that. But I think that the control that Josh had on those first 2 drives, it showed he was right back there, if not even a little bit better. So yeah, exciting times. I think the 2 big takeaways for me are Rousseau is readier, more ready than advertised.
Yeah.
And we were all told at the draft time, this guy's going to need a season. He's not ready. He's very raw. Yeah, you can tell he's raw, but man, is he effective. Those arms are incredible, the way he's shifting people around. So the fact that we're actually going to get meaningful snaps out of Rousseau this season, I think is quite exciting. I also think that Gabriel Davis has taken a step up. If you look at his route running, he looks sharper. You know, he's a bit of a boundary guy, a bit of a big-bodied guy, but he looked really sharp. in terms of making his cuts. And yeah, I think that's also only good news.
Yeah, I think it's going to be really interesting this year to see who is the number 3 wide receiver. Is it Manny Sanders or is it Gabe Davis? We know Diggs and Beasley are 1 and 2, but you know, Manny Sanders, really good to see him out there getting a few snaps. But I mean, Gabe continues to flash.
Yeah, totally agree. I mean, Davis just threw. He was just way under the radar last year. Of course he was, because he's a Bills player. You know, they were talking about all these great rookies, but he was fantastic. Down the sideline, those throws on the sideline, and I was going to say something similar to Chris. It would not surprise me if Davis is more the wide receiver 3, and Sanders the wide receiver 4. I mean, that's a bit of hyperbole. I don't know if that's going to happen, but it would not surprise me.
It's so tough to wrap my mind around the fact that we have 4 unbelievably talented wide receivers. Remember when David Nelson was our number 1 wide receiver?
It's well, we just
Are you joking?
We destroyed the Bears with our 4th, 5th, and 6th choice wide receivers. Destroyed them, and our backup quarterback. That's how far we've come. You know, it's just night and day.
Yeah. I mean, it's good. I mean, there are a lot of stuff on there. I mean, there's loads of good things. This offense will come about, and it's good to see that they're getting a run game going. I mean, obviously discussion and all that about is there an out and out number 1 running back, or is it still going to be running back by committee? I don't know what everyone's view on that is. Is Singletary the number 1, or is it a case of 1A, 1B, and they're going to rotate depending on what the situation looks at?
It's another, like, what's the phrase? Something of riches.
Embarrassment of riches.
Yeah, a little bit. Where the only position that I know that's locked in is Brady as like the 3rd down pass catching back. But whoever gets the handoffs at the beginning of the drives, Singletary or Moss, I mean, you can see Singletary was like, no. I'm still the guy here. You know, what he put on in the offseason. And, you know, the more these guys challenge each other, the better we are. So if everybody ends up with like 600 total scrimmage yards, you know, fine. I don't need a fantasy stat line for any of our running backs. I need W's on the board, and that's it. And I think all 3 of these guys will help us get there.
Don't draft the Bills running back this year.
No.
Fantasy. Stay well clear.
Yeah.
No, I mean, anyone actually got any concerns? I mean, obviously, my concerns have always been, and looking the preseason games, have been the depth, O-line, especially the fact that I don't know how Bobby Hart survived 2 cuts, and also the potential weakness behind Taron Johnson, Trey White, and to an extent Levi Wallace. Those concerns, are they being echoed, or has anyone else got any other little bits of concerns really that they could see from that game?
I really thought we should have taken a cornerback in the draft. I think we're incredibly light at cornerback. I think we've seen that now with Levi Wallace being out. It wouldn't surprise me if we tried to bring a cornerback in still. I'm not less worried about some people are talking about guard, you know, a depth at guard, but the thing is, we do have a mobile quarterback. We do have a guy who's brilliant when plays break down. But the tackle depth is not great. We're going to be depending on a 3rd round rookie to be our swing tackle. So I think we're really hoping that offensive line stays fit and healthy. Otherwise, Josh could need some roller skates. But I think the bigger concern for me is cornerback depth. And to a certain extent, that could be mitigated by a more effective D-line. You know, if we're in the quarterback's faces, slowing down, that may be something that we can live with. You know, no roster's perfect, but those are the 2 spots.
Yeah, I think that's key, isn't it? We're expecting the D-line to get a lot more pressure this year to help the guys at the back end, but I totally echo that. I'm actually a big Levi Wallace guy. I'm happy with Levi Wallace as the CB2. You don't need superstars at every position. He's fine, but as you say, he's a bit banged up at the moment. Is Dane Jackson going to develop into what we thought he was? He's not looked great so far, but then he's injured as well. So yeah, that's a bit of a worry for me, to be honest. That I'm not convinced Saran Neal is worth anything playing outside. Inside, he's great. I love seeing him inside in that big nickel spot, if you like, but I'm not convinced he's going to be serviceable as an outside corner.
Yeah, I'm also not convinced that the Bills have fixed the run D side of things either at this point. I think probably on a game-by-game basis, we'll have some good games, we'll have some bad games, but come the end of the season, I could see us like averaging 4.8 yards given up per rushing play. But I'm I'm not massively worried by it, because I expect us to score so many points that we effectively, our run D is our offense, putting up the points and forcing the opposition to pass. So that's a slight concern in close games. I think that could be an area of weakness for us. But here's hoping that Josh and the gang get out there, put points up early, and we play it like the old Indianapolis Colts under Peyton Manning, where we're just rushing the passer with two fantastic edge rushers. Yeah,
I think that's probably the best way to look at it. I mean, as everyone said on it, we've probably got the strongest roster that we've had in years. We're in that window, especially with the Allen deal still got 2 years left to run before his contract extension. Edmonds got another 2 years before a contract extension. So just trying to get that cap and get that manageable, obviously does put us in a real good position. And going into the season, which we do now, we'll look at the season preview. You've got to feel really excited, really, about what we can achieve, and can we go that one step further and actually get that Super Bowl this year, or at least better yet, actually push Kansas City harder than we did in the championship game.
Yeah, I think just to piggyback off what Chris Spencer said a minute ago, is that the best defense is a good offense. We saw that a few games last year where New England was running on us in the first quarter, San Francisco was running on us in the first quarter, but then we went up by 20 and we forced them to throw, and that played into our strength and their weakness. So I'm expecting more of that. I mean, is it even possible to have a more explosive offense? Because we added pieces that give us that. At the same time, I think before we get into a season preview, like, what is the expectation on Allen's season this year? Like, can he do that again? And if a natural regression, which is probably going to happen, like, what's the worst that's still great?
I think he'll have a better season. I really do.
All right.
Yeah. And I'll give you the reasons, right? One is that for a fact that Josh has worked his backside off all off season to get better. Secondly, it's an easier schedule on paper. I know you can never really tell, but on paper, it's an easier schedule than we played last season. And then thirdly, I think our wide receiver depth is scary good.
Oh yeah,
they're going to play a lot of spread sets. There's going to be a lot of mismatches, and I think there'll be more yak. I think we'll get more yards after catch, just simply because we're a nightmare when it comes to mismatches for the opposition. So whether he looks better or not, I just think in terms of stats, I think he'll be better.
Anyone's got anything else to add on that?
I posted on the Facebook group earlier on today in response to something that Alex put up, specifically asking about this question. And I just think it's inevitable that we're going to see statistical regression from Josh Allen. Now, when people hear the word regression, they think really bad drop-off in play.
It's not going to be that,
Yeah, no, regression's not about that. Regression is going back to the mean, going back to the average, or being closer to it. So for me, last year, Josh Allen was an MVP level player. To do that 2 years in a row is incredibly hard to do. Just look at, say, Carson Wentz a few years ago.
Yeah.
I think that Josh will regress statistically and he'll go back to being a top 10 caliber QB. For us to win in the NFL, that's what you need. If you've got a baseline top 10 QB, you can win the Super Bowl. And as long as Josh Allen performs to that level, you'll hear no complaints from me.
Yeah, I mean, I can go back and do the math. The average between his second year and his third year, if you take the middle there, that's still going to be an amazing season for a quarterback. And if that's what we get, that's great. But I mean, I think you were right when you were saying that there's such an opportunity for him to even get better, because it's the motivation of the loss last year plus more weapons. Like, I'll be okay with the regression to the mean, but like just understanding what the ceiling is so goddamn exciting.
One other reason as well. I think we're going to get the ball back more often because of this new D line.
Yeah, better defense means more offense. Hell, I'm getting excited.
So let's hit into it. Let's hit into the season preview schedule. I mean, 17 games now with the extra one against Washington. Let's go. If I do this individually, so I'll start with begin with C.
Yeah, I'll go first. Go on.
All right, I'll go, Chris.
What first water.
What game are you looking forward to the most this coming season? How that schedule?
I can't look much further past a divisional game and the Patriots. I think always look forward to going up against the Patriots. Divisional games are always the toughest, no matter what one team's doing, schedule-wise, record-wise. They always play you the hardest. They always seems like the stakes are always higher. I'd say the Dolphins, but Josh pretty much owns them. So and the Jets. I mean, I know the defense might be better this year, but again, they're going to be pretty much a tire fire. They always are. So, but you know, Patriots still the Patriots. I still give them credit for going what they did last year. Was it 7-9? With that roster and all those opt-outs, you can never write Bill Belichick off. So yeah, really looking forward to that, and just seeing Josh play up against a Patriots defense with all those players back, and we'll see how he copes with that.
It's a good point. We got a long time to wait. We got week 13 for that game, so a lot of things can change by then. Yeah. So that'll be a good mid-season challenge for sure.
Charlie, what game are you looking forward to the most?
See, personally, I'm looking forward to going to New Orleans, and because assuming that I'm allowed to travel, I'll be there. But I think in terms of just a pure learning, what are we going to learn most? It's going to be week 5 against the Chiefs. That's the bar for the AFC. And have we learned? We played them twice. I don't think we played our best football in either of those games. We should all be hopefully pretty fit and healthy in week 5. That's the bar. We've got to go to the Chiefs and compete and at least run them close if we want to go and win the Super Bowl. So that's an early season indicator for me.
And Mr. Spencer.
I think for me, it's the 2 Dolphins games. So this is where it gets a little bit personal for me. I know 3 Dolphins fans who are all feeling really confident this year. Now, if I had Tua as my QB, I wouldn't be feeling overly confident. But credit to the Dolphins. Last year, they had a fantastic D. Their fans seem to believe that it's going to carry over to this season, which is very hard to do from year to year. But really, I'm looking forward to us beating them twice and rubbing their noses in it.
Alex, I know we've talked about it, but have you changed your mind? Have you got one that you're really looking forward to?
It's so hard to not say Kansas City, but we got the Super Bowl champions in Week 14.
Yeah.
We got that pain in the ass son of a bitch Tom Brady. You think you get rid of him for 1 year, you do, but now here he comes again. So here we go. We got to do this again, right?
Yeah.
They looked so good at the end of the year. They spanked Kansas City. Like, how did that happen? We loved our offense, right? And Kansas City kind of shut us up. Then Tampa Bay just kind of wiped the floor with them. So, yeah, let's I want to beat Tom Brady so bad. Like, if we can hang a 40 spot on them, because we're gonna this season put up 40 against a few teams, I think. If we could do it against them, like if we go 10-7, we're in the playoffs. But if that one of those W's is against Tampa Bay, I'll feel really good against for our chances in the playoffs.
Yeah. I think mine is the Bucks one there and there, because that's the bar. That's your potential opponents in the Super Bowl. I feel that we can easily now with this defensive line compete against the Chiefs
easily. Easily. Like I didn't say Kansas City just because Chris said Kansas City, but
I think we can. I think we can.
Easily. Okay.
We've got the parts in place now. We've improved that D line. We've seen. Tampa Bay have given us pretty much the blueprint.
True.
How to slow it down. There were times in the Chiefs games that we did slow that offense down a little bit. Okay, not so much that we've lost the game, but we've shown a little bit in there that with what this new D line is actually doing, we can cause a few more issues. So we can easily get up to that level and actually run and close rather than actually letting it get away with us. And we're there just throwing, trying to catch up like other teams will be doing to us.
Now that's a good point, because Tampa Bay did get to Mahomes. They were down, breathing down his back the whole game. And that's what we identified as what we need to do, and we did it. So let's hope that the players and the scheme come together to be able to do that. To do what Tampa Bay did to the Chiefs, if we could do that to every team, then yeah, we can. I wouldn't say easily, but I would say we can absolutely hang.
So let's go back around the room. I'm going to start with Charlie this time. The game, the matchup that you're worried about, that you have a bit of fear about, one that could be a banana skin, shall we say?
Yeah, Titans. I hate playing the Titans.
I agree.
100%.
For a variety of reasons. Firstly, it's the Titans. Secondly, one of the big issues for us last season was our run D, and if we're worried about it, then that's the game, isn't it? Where it's going to be exposed. Obviously, last season was a bit of a debacle with the whole COVID and the rescheduling and all that kind of stuff. But I feel like we're a better team than the Titans.
Mm-hmm.
But I still feel like they're one of those games where we could struggle. I did think about Washington just because I think their defense is exceptional, and there might be some struggles there. I think people could be sleeping a little bit on this Washington team, but
especially early on in the season.
Yeah, I really feel like we owe the Titans one, and they worry me.
Mr. Spencer, how about you?
Yeah, it's the Titans for me for all the reasons Charlie said. Plus, they seem to have a little bit of a hoodoo over us last year, and particularly with the whole COVID fiasco with their team. Yeah, there's just something about them that doesn't seem to mesh well with us, and I'm really expecting that one to be a loss, unfortunately.
Are we gonna have key sweep, Chris, or is there someone else on your mind that you think can give us you're worried about?
I was gonna go along the same what Charlie was saying about with Washington and Fitzpatrick and I love Scary Terry and their defense. So I was thinking that, but I can't. It's a bit of an obvious answer, but I can't get past KC and go in there. I am scared. I'm terrified of that game. I think there's going to be just heaps of pressure on McDermott, all the coaching staff, on Allen, just for the fact that we lost to them twice last year. So, you know, are we going to make it 3 times? No one's going to want that. Going into KC as well, there's going to be
prime time,
full stadium. Yeah, it's going to be loud.
All eyes. Yeah.
I'm not. I don't expect to see Josh lose his head, because I think he showed last year that I think he might have ironed that out of his game, and that's gone now. But if it's going to happen, I think it's going to happen there. And also just touching on what we talked about before, you know, the cornerback 2 position, I'm really hoping that we have solidified that, or someone is standing out there, because, you know, we all know how good the Chiefs receivers are. So, and you know, Tyreek Hill just scares the life out of me. So yeah, I can't look past the Chiefs.
Anyone considered? Obviously, we mentioned the Redskins.
Well, I don't get to go.
Football team. Yeah, you can go. Go.
I just wanted to argue for one of the headache games last year, and that was the playoff game against the Colts. We get them in week 11, and their run game is probably second best on our schedule to Tennessee, and they got it done on us, and their defense is no joke. They're one of those teams that is like surprisingly good that isn't getting any respect. I don't know. Maybe it's the logo. Maybe it's the color scheme. I don't know. They're not very intimidating. All the news surrounds their quarterback. But, yeah, they went toe-to-toe with us and down to the wire. And I think that in the middle of an easy schedule with, like, Miami, Jacksonville, the Jets, then the Colts, and I think the Saints might be an easy one there. But, like, getting a challenge in there, Miami, Jacksonville, the Jets should be an easy WWW. Are we going to be able to then really get going against the Colts? Obviously, you know, week to week, you know, you reset your mind. But, I mean, yeah, I give a lot of respect to the Colts, and especially midseason.
Yeah, agree with you there, Alex. And I think the Colts are one of these teams that get more respect in the league than they do in the media.
Yeah.
So I saw an article in The Athletic last week where they were surveying a bunch of agents throughout the league as to who they thought the best GM was. And the Colts GM, Chris Ballard, was the one who came out number one. Bean got a couple of votes, but Ballard is very much up there as far as the best GMs go. And Frank Reich is a very good coach as well.
Yeah, I really liked Quitty Pay in the draft process. He's a fun player to watch, and it looks like he's having a good preseason as well.
Yeah, I mean, I can't argue that any of those suggestions on there. I mean, before I passed it over to Alex, I was actually going to mention the Colts and put your name to it, Alex.
All right. Well, look, we're on the same page. That's.
I think the Redskins, you've got to appreciate what Fitzpatrick can do other than the interceptions. And you've got Antonio Gibson, you've got Scary Terry. They've made some good additions on that offense. And then, yeah, you just can't sleep on that defense with Chase Young on there. So I think those two, with obviously the Chiefs and Titans, will be the biggest challenges on there. I mean, you got to throw in the Bucs there as well, but that's 5 games where you are flip of a coin, so to speak, that could happen either way. Mm-hmm. And if we go through the schedules, we'll do it and see what everyone's predictions are. If we start with the first 4 weeks, I will go with Charlie first on here. So Alex, you got this all ready to write down?
Yeah, if he just goes through the whole 18, then I'll mark it down.
Okay, so Charlie, Bills versus Steelers, week 1.
I think he said win, but I can't hear him.
Yeah, it's a win.
There it is. All right.
I think it's going to be tough. I think their defense is going to be difficult. It's always week 1's always a little bit unpredictable, but we're going to outscore Pittsburgh.
Is it weird that none of us said Pittsburgh when we talked about the toughest games? I mean, they're a team that played us to 1 touchdown 2 seasons in a row.
I think Roethlisberger's arm is just declining at such a rate that I don't know. I just don't believe in him anymore.
All right.
And I think there's a talent on that offense, but the guy throwing the ball is always going to be a struggle, I think. So I think it's going to be tighter than a lot of people think. Week 1 is always rust, but I think we're outscore them.
So week 2 against the Dolphins.
It's got to be a win. Yeah, I mean, I think they will be a little bit better this season. I think that Tua will be a bit better than perhaps we've seen. But I just feel like we've got the I don't know, the hex over Miami. As someone said earlier, Josh kind of owns them. He walks in there like he's 10 foot high. So I just don't see them beating us.
Week 3, Washington.
I'm going to go for a tight, nail-biting win. I think their defense will cause us some serious problems. And I think it'll be, a field goal and difference in score, something like that, but very tight win.
Week 5 against the Chiefs. Oh wait, I missed the easy one. I missed the easy one against
Houston. 50 points to the Bills.
Yeah, right.
So Chiefs, week 5.
I'm going to go for a very narrow defeat. I think we'll show up. I think we'll play much better. I think we'll compete, and they'll give us hope that we can beat them in another AFC title game. But narrow loss.
Titans, week 6.
I'm going to go for a win, despite what I said earlier, because I think we're going to scheme up and we're going to stop Derrick Henry, and we're going to find a way.
Then we got bye week. So what are you at the bye week? He's 6-1 at the bye week, is he, Alex?
Yep. 5-1.
5-1.
So week 8, Dolphins home.
Yeah, win.
Week 7, week 9, Jaguars at home.
Large
away.
Win.
Jets, week 10.
Large win. I hope.
Colts, week 11.
I think it'll be a difficult game. I think they outplayed us for good portions of the playoff game, but I'm going to say win. I think we just got more talent all over the field than the Colts overall, but I think it's going to be a narrow win.
Saints on Thanksgiving, the game you're going to do.
Hopefully a huge win, and I will party hard on Bourbon Street.
First
as long as it's still there, they're going through some trouble.
Oh, it's still there right now. Yeah, I've been checking. Yeah.
Okay.
Patriots.
Yeah, this is
a home game.
This is a home game. Now, I think we'll be okay against the Patriots. Again, I think it's a rookie quarterback. I think you can never count out Belichick, but I'm going to go for a win.
Buccaneers.
I think we're going to lose that one. I think that's going to be one where we're going to struggle. I just think that their defense could do what they did to Kansas City to us, and I think they could rattle us. And Brady's seen it all before. He's seen plenty of the Bills before. He's seen plenty of McDermott defenses before. I think that's going to be a narrow loss.
Panthers.
I think that should be a comfortable win.
Patriots away on Boxing Day.
I'm going to go for a win. I'm hoping and praying there's lots of phones lined up for Belichick to throw at people. More meetings.
Falcons.
Should be a comfortable win, although we might struggle with Mr. Pitts, who are not super good at tight ends. But we should be fine. They don't have much of a defense, right? And
finally, Jets.
So normally I'm always like a bit this on the last game. If I think we're confident for getting to the playoffs, we could be playing our reserves. But seeing what our second stringers did to the Dolphins last year when they needed to win, and this Dolphins team, this Jets team is going to be worse than that, I'm going to go for a win.
Yeah. So what is he on then, Alex?
That's a real confident 15-2.
Ooh, okay, Chris Wild. Here we go.
Yeah,
You're
here
up.
we go.
Week 1, Steelers.
Right, Steelers. Okay. Well, I mean, we were talking about run defense before, and I think seeing Najee Harris is going to be a good indicator as to if we fix that or not, because that guy is a monster. He really is. I think, but Charlie was saying before, I think Roethlisberger's arm's shot, and being the first home game back after COVID year, I just think that place is going to be absolutely rocking. So yeah, firm 1-0 on that one. Definitely going to be a win.
Week 2 against the Dolphins.
Yeah, I think we're going to lose that one. I think it's going to be in Miami. I think it's going to be hot. A divisional game. I think they're always tough, and you know, I like what Flores is doing there. Not so sure about all this, you know, with Watson. I think that's a bad move the way he's handling that. To be honest with you, because God knows what's going through Tua's head now. But I do like what he's done with that defense is really good. So yeah, 1-1.
Washington week 3.
Yeah, I think this is at home, isn't it? Yeah. So yeah, I'll put this down as a win. Yeah, I think we'll beat Washington.
We skipping the Texans? Is that straight?
Yeah,
I think everyone's going to skip the Texans on this one.
Saying.
So let's go week 5 against the Chiefs.
Yeah, I think we're going to lose that one. I think it's going to be just too tough there with the prime time, the atmosphere inside. You know, I'm sounding really negative. I'm not negative on the team at all, but you know, we've got to lose some games, guys. You know, so we'll put that down as a loss.
The Titans.
Well, we'll bounce back and we'll give the Titans a good old slap across the face. I think. Yeah, they've become like it's become a mini rivalry, hasn't it, the last few years with the Titans, and I think we'll definitely want to give them some payback from the game last year. We definitely didn't give it our best shot and under extenuating circumstances. So yeah.
Dolphins on Halloween.
I think coming out of the bye week at Dermot's always strong. Miami at home as well, so I think we'll win that one.
Jaguars.
Yeah, I think we'll win that one as well. I've liked how Lawrence has looked in pre-season, but it is pre-season and he's still going to be a rookie quarterback, and I think the defense will just give Lawrence fits. I think that'll be an easy win.
Jets.
Yeah, I think we'll smash the Jets as well. I'm not a big Zach Wilson fan. You know, it might prove me wrong. And I think the defense will be better than it was last year, but that roster has just got so many holes in it. You know, the defensive backs don't look great at all, even if they have got Mosley back. So yeah, well, that'll be a win.
Colts.
I think that'll be. Yeah, I think that could be a loss. That just echo a lot of what Alex said before. I really like Jonathan Taylor. You know, and their O-line is great. You know, Quentin Nelson just throwing guys out the club. You know, that's their phrase. I love that phrase. You just see him bouncing bodies all over the place. So I think it'll be a tight one. But yeah, I think we'll put that down as a loss.
Saints on Thanksgiving.
Oh, is that at the Saints as well, isn't it?
At the Saints,
Thanksgiving. Yeah. Oh, yeah, we'll put that down as a win. I think we'll win there. I do like Winston. You know, I find myself. I tweeted something out earlier this week. I do always find myself rooting for him, and I think since he was eating the W, I really did. I just got a soft spot for him, but I think it'll be too much for him. I think them losing Breeze is going to leave a big hole in their team. So yeah, I think we'll.
First game home against the Patriots.
Yeah, I think we'll win that one. I'll put that down as a win. Yeah, not much else to say about that really. I think I'm not convinced about what the Patriots are doing really at quarterback. Not a big Matt Jones guy, I think, or Newton. So yeah, take that as a win.
Buccaneers away.
I think we will lose that one there. Tom Brady, I just just this guy needs to go. He needs to stop playing football. He needs to get. I'm going to make a request as well, dude.
Go for it.
Bills Mafia on Twitter. Just because Tom Brady has left the New England Patriots, he is not. I keep seeing there's this growing trend. People keep tweeting out, Tom Brady's really funny now he's left the Patriots. Tom Brady's a great guy now that he's left the Patriots. He is not. He's still Tom Brady. He's a bad man.
Yes.
So not running his own social media. Someone else is doing that.
Yeah,
Someone else is funny.
exactly.
He's paying someone to be funny.
Yeah.
Yeah, this is still the Tom Brady who wore UGG boots.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
Hello. Come on.
He's never a funny guy. He's never a cool guy. He's never funny. He's nothing. Yeah, stop it, please. Thanks.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah. So to give you a prediction for that. Yeah.
Alex, what do you say for that? These
You said loss, so we're at 9-4.
Yeah.
Yep. All right, so Panthers.
Yeah, I'll win that one. Yeah. I don't think the Panthers they've got McCaffrey but I'm not convinced. I think the Jets might ruin Darnold. I think he could have. I mean, he's not looked bad in preseason, but it'll be interesting to see if he's got a case of the yips.
Yeah. Second game away to the Patriots on Boxing Day.
I think in Foxborough, I think we could lose that one. I'm going away to Foxborough. I can see us lose. I think we'll split the Patriots. So yeah, see us losing that one.
Falcons at home, first game of 2022. You believe that?
Yeah, I think this could be a win and probably the last game that we see the starters playing before the playoffs.
And then finally the Jets.
Oh, how many losses have I got now, Alex?
You're 11-5.
Right. I can see us losing that because playing the backups. The Jets will be playing for more than we will. You know, they'll want to play tough. They won't want to be swept again. I'll go with a loss there.
Ooh, 11-6.
Yeah.
Wild card almost. You know, depending on if New England's offense can sort itself out. I mean,
I think I'm banking on the division just being
Miami.
awful,
Yeah.
I think. Yeah.
There was a minute where the division was in question last year. Does 11-6 get us close to Miami?
Yeah.
You know,
It could.
There's a wide notion at the moment that, and I think Charlie mentioned this before, that this schedule is quite easy. When I look at it, and I know it's difficult, like Charlie said, you know, that you don't know how teams are going to play. When I look at it though, I look at it as being quite tough, but
because you're a Stockport County fan.
Exactly, yeah. I'm forever the pessimist. Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
well, here, this is you're doing the schedule from a very logical Bills fan. You have us losing against the teams that most people would say are as good, if not better than us. You measure as a year's success by beating playoff teams, by beating teams with winning records. And you have us nearly splitting with teams that I think will have a winning record. Is that just a general sense of pessimism, or what is it?
I'd like to see. I'd like to see it more. I think I'd like to see the Bills winning the big games against the big teams. You know, I want to see us beat the Chiefs in prime time. I'm not going to predict it until I see it.
Yeah.
I'm not convinced that until they do it, I won't be convinced that they can. I guess that's just years of scar tissue.
I mean, I guess that makes sense because you look at our two playoff games last year and we won them very close.
Yeah.
So unless, there's no tape of us blowing out a really good team. So
yeah, exactly.
I
In
get
the last
that.
2 seasons, how many really good teams at the top of their game at full strength have we beaten?
Yeah. Good point. Well, I mean, this year has to be the year, or
yeah,
else.
I mean, I'm not saying
No?
we can't get over that hump either. I'm confident that we probably can.
But right
I
now,
need
you're
to
just playing
see
it safe. Yeah. Okay.
I need to see it.
So, Mr. Spencer, he's been waiting a long time for this moment. It's time to hear how he feels it's going to go. Right. So, we're probably going to put you at 1-0 anyway because we got week 4 against the Texans. But unless you have anything different on that one, we'll come to it. But Bills Steelers week 1.
I'm chalking this up as a win. I think it will be a lot closer than people realise it's going to be. I'm expecting the Steelers to cover the spread. I think Najee's probably going to have quite a good game for the Steelers. And I know the narrative is that Ben's arm is knackered. This is week 1. Any, tiredness or anything that's going to be in that arm isn't probably going to show up until later on in the season, which was the case last year.
How many did they win in a row last year? They were 10-0, 11-0?
Exactly.
Yeah.
And it was only around that mark that Ben's arm really started deteriorating on a week-to-week basis. So, but I do think we come out of this with a win. And I do think the Steelers are probably a playoff team this year.
Yeah.
Okay. Week 2, Dolphins away.
Comfortable win.
Week 3, Washington.
I think Fitz is going to give us half of people having a little bit of anxiety.
Yeah, he'll do that.
And then late in the third quarter, early in the fourth quarter, he's going to do what he does best, which is choke in the big moment and throw an interception or have a fumble.
Yeah.
Love the guy, but he's a turnover machine when the game's on the line.
So week 4, you're not changing from
just move on.
Yep, move on. Okay. Week 5, Chiefs.
First loss of the season. Like the other Chris, I'm not going to believe it until I see it. I think we'll push them hard, but at this point, I just can't confidently predict that it'll be a win. So it has to be a loss.
Okay, Titans.
Another loss for me. So this is going to be like last year, back-to-back losses against Chiefs and Titans.
Yeah.
As Charlie alluded to earlier, I really don't think we match up well against the Titans. Not only have they got the run game for us to be worried about, but if we try and shut that down, they've now got Julio on their roster.
Yeah.
So you're going to have AJ Brown and Julio Jones. Trey White can cover one of them. I'm not convinced that our man Levi Wallace can cover the other one. Both of them very physical guys, and that's where Levi Wallace struggles. So if we shut down the run game, I can see them passing on us. And Tannehill is a very, very efficient passer.
Okay, so the second game against the Dolphins.
Another win. Not worried about the Dolphins at all.
Jaguars.
Another easy win.
Another easy win against the Jets.
Yep. Team have no pass rush and a rookie quarterback. Their pass rush is so bad that they've now brought Shaq Lawson back on a trade to the division.
Yeah. Colts.
I'm going for a loss with this one. I think they owe us one after the playoff game. I think there were a couple of questionable sideline calls that went in our favour for Gabe Davis last year. And I think that's going to be the extra motivation that they need to get over the line.
Saints on Thanksgiving.
A win for us. I've got a mate who's a Saints fan who's hoping to go to that game as well. But he's not confident at all in their team this year. The injury to Thomas has really depleted their wide receiver core to the point where the guy who's set to lead their receivers this year is a guy called Marquis Callaway. I don't know if you've seen much of them in pre-season, but he's an undrafted rookie from last year, and he has flashed really, really promising. connection with Winston this year. So he's someone to watch out for in your fantasy drafts. But I do think that we've got a win there.
Patriots.
So like Chris, I kind of think we're going to end up splitting with the Pats. I think we'll win at home and lose away.
Buccaneers.
Again, I think we'll end up losing to them. Just their roster is incredible. The fact that they're bringing back the same team that won the Super Bowl, I do think they have the potential to be a little bit hit and miss. And I think if we're going to have an upset victory at some point this season, this is where it will happen. I'm just not convinced that at this point that it will.
Okay. Panthers.
Another win for me here. I don't think the Panthers are a particularly strong team. They're still very much a team in transition. As Chris alluded to earlier, it's the whole question of, is Darnold permanently broken, or is this just the Adam Gase effect where he's broken the QB and, like Ryan Tannehill, when he gets away from him, improves a lot. We'll have to wait and see. But at this point in time, I see no reason why we can't beat the Panthers.
Yeah, and you said loss away to the Patriots, didn't you?
Yeah, I did. I think this is going to be the Patriots Super Bowl for the season. I think at this point in time, they'll probably still be in contention for a wild card, and they'll get an upset win over us, but then miss the playoffs, and this will be what their fans end up harping on about all off season, that they beat us.
And Falcons.
A comfortable win for us. I think Matt Ryan will put up a lot of yards, but I'm not convinced that their team will put up a lot of points.
And Jets.
A nice win for us. I think this will be the Mitch Trubisky farewell party, where he gets the opportunity to rehab his image and get a nice contract elsewhere and move on.
So what's that, Alex?
So 12-5.
Yeah.
12-5. So
I think 12 is enough to win the division.
As do I.
Yeah.
So we've got 12-5, 11-6, and 15-2.
Yeah.
Do you want to go?
Yeah, I'll go.
Write it
That
down
sounds
quickly.
good. Yeah. So
All
with Pittsburgh, I think that's going to be the measuring stick for how I feel about how we'll play Kansas City and Tampa and the Titans. If we can win by like 2 scores, then I'm going to feel real good about this. I'm going to say right now it's a win, but I'm not going to say, close, or I'm not going to say, blowout. I'm just going to say it's going to be a win there. Same thing with Miami. Same thing with Washington. Houston, yeah. So we're out of the gate hot, and here we go against Kansas City, and I still haven't made up my mind yet. I'm literally thinking about what I'm going to say as I'm saying it, and I'm just stalling right now. I don't really know what's going to happen in this game. I still haven't made up my mind. It's probably
on a timer. 5,
I'm going to say loss. I think that we even have trouble with them at home. I think that it's not going to be Mahomes and Hill. I think it's going to be what they did to us last year, and it's going to be Clyde Edwards-Helaire. Because here we're going to go into that game thinking, stop the frickin' pass. Just trust Starr, Ed, and Tremaine to stop the running back. And that's not going to be enough, because then that'll lead to play action where Kelsey will just eat us up. But I think this game, this loss, will help us beat Tennessee, because we'll, learn from our defeat against the Chiefs. So we got 5-1 at the bye.
Okay.
I'll give Miami some respect and say that they're going to play us close in one of these games, but I'll still give them a win there. Jacksonville, other than Lawrence, I don't know anything about them. So that's, I think, a W, because they couldn't win anything last year. The Jets, yeah, that's going to be a W. The Colts, I talked about them as my tough game, but I think we beat them just because even if it's Wentz, I think that they can't score as much as we can. And that's fine if it's even a 17-14 game, because I think our defense can hold them to being one-dimensional. And I'm going to say we're going to lose to the Saints. because it's just going to be, I think, a weird game. Every year there's one game where they're like, oh, that shouldn't have happened. And I think this is going to be that game. And then we bounce back, though, and beat the Patriots. Tampa Bay loss, just, the curse of Tom Brady, that fucker. Carolina win. New England. I don't know what they're going to be, because they're getting a lot of their defensive stars back. The three best players on defense sat out last year or were hurt. So, but if it's Cam, I think he's easy to handle. And if it's the new kid, I still think that's easy to handle. So I guess I'll throw that as a W. But yeah. I don't feel comfortable with only 3 losses, because I'm usually much more pessimistic than this.
You want to try predicting 2?
Yeah. Atlanta is a win, and the Jets will be. I'd love to know what's going to happen with this final game, because is it for the number 1 seed or not? I think going into this game at 13-3, it's probably for the 1 seed. So I think we win that too, 14-3.
Okay, so
that doesn't feel right, but
yeah, for you it doesn't.
No.
The thing is, I think we're one of the top 4 teams in the NFL.
That just blows my mind.
which is nuts, and it's been a long time. But that is the reality.
Yeah.
So, I agree with the guys. There's always a crazy game. I think we can put down the Cardinals as being that crazy game last season, which we
But
we may well be in that ballpark of 14, 15 wins. It's weird. It's weird.
Yeah.
I think 13-15 really is the ceiling on there. 14 is probably more respectable. I mean, I've gone 4-0 for the first 4 games. Again, I agree with most people. Chiefs probably going to be a loss on there. Titans, I could see that being a loss. I'm going to chalk that down. So I'm 4-2 at the bye. Then I've got Dolphins, Jags, Jets, all wins. Colts, I've got a win for that. I know they've played us close. It's going to be one of those nail-biting games. Saints a win, Bills win, Patriots win, Buccaneers loss, and then the last 4 games I've got all wins. So my losses only really come to the bigger, in inverted commas, the Tampa, the Titans, and the Chiefs. So I think anything from 13-15 really is your realistic aim for it. Anything less, you can say could be a bit of a disappointment, but not so much, depending on so many games are flips of coin. But 13-15 really is your best case scenario, really. I think, apart from Chris Wilde, we were all in and around that sort of ballpark figure. So
I'm going to honestly say he's going to get closer to winning this than anybody else, just because that's the way the league is, though, isn't it? Unless you're a team that has been to the Super Bowl, you can't have this much confidence.
Yeah,
you're totally right. I hope I'm wrong, I really do. But that's how the league is, and I agree with what Charlie said. We are one of the top 4 teams in the league, but you get that little run where the teams are running on us for 200 yards a game, or someone touch wood that doesn't happen, but someone important really goes down with an injury. It's just the way it happens. Yeah.
So that's all it for the episode. I mean, Chris, thanks for coming on. Let's start with Mr. Spencer. Where can everyone who is listening actually follow you and interact with you?
Just over on the Bills UK Facebook group. I actually left Twitter.
Whoa,
Smart man.
It's a dark place.
So Chris, both the Chris's are both admins of the Facebook group, along with myself and Alex on there. Chris, where can people find you other than on the Facebook group?
Yeah, on the Facebook group. To be honest, I spend most of my time on Twitter because I'm a sadist and I'm a glutton for punishment.
Yeah.
So you come and give me a follow on Twitter at the Bell Cow. I just tweet Bill stuff. It'd be great if you. I always follow back if you're Bill's Mafia or a porn bot or something. I'll definitely follow you back.
And Charlie, obviously, what you got anything coming up on the podcast coming up, and obviously where can they find that, and obviously yourself and obviously Tim, who unfortunately couldn't be here tonight for this.
Yeah, so Bills from Afar is the podcast. We'll be doing another one coming out very soon. We've just interviewed a very famous UK Bills fan. He moved to Toronto, so look that one up. It's a really good chat and a really interesting story about a British guy who moved to Canada so he could follow the Bills from much closer than afar, I suppose. You can follow me individually. I'm on Charlie_sports, or my co-host is Tim Rudge 90 on Twitter. I'm also on Twitter a lot. I got off Facebook, so I went the other way, Chris. And I just tweet about it.
You're both hellscapes.
Really, so. Yeah, exactly.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so definitely give Charlie and the Bills from Afar podcast a check out. Obviously, keep listening to us. Hit that subscribe button at RWBB_podcast at UK Bills, Buffalo Bills UK on Facebook, YouTube. And for Chris, Charlie.
Oh, hang on, real quick to all you guys. Have you converted anyone to either NFL football or B to the Bills?
Yeah, one to NFL football. I converted my cousin, who is now a Vikings fan. I actually took him to see the Vikings play the Browns, I think it was, at Twickenham. And he's a definite convert now. Working on some others, let's put it that way.
Yeah. Anybody else?
No one yet, really. There's a couple of guys that I work with who they got into it, but following other teams, and you know what it's like when you're new to NFL. It's so complicated. I mean, there's things there's so many different layers to it. There's there's the X's and O's. There's certain layers of that I haven't even started at, and I still don't understand. So I've acted as a go-to for questions and things like that, which has been good. Introducing them just to the sport, really, just to spread the word about the sport.
Yeah, and I've kind of half converted my wife to being a Bills fan. She follows all of their social media stuff, and she wishes the Bills well. And the other week at work, she delivered a presentation to people on data analysis. And the example that she actually used was, how do you identify the best team in the NFL using data analysis? So she looked at, was the best team the team that won the Super Bowl? Were they the team that won the most regular season games, or was it the team with the best point differential? And so I'll take the fact she's actually using that into the presentation at work as a win. And then on converting.
But what was the answer?
She said, actually, ignore the data. The Bills are the best team.
That's the spirit. That's what you like to hear. Yeah.
And then as far as other people go, there's a few people that I've managed to convert to being fans of the league in general. So I manage or commission a fantasy football league. We've got 24 teams in the league, where we do 2 leagues of 12 with promotion relegation between the 2.
Oh, that sounds fun. Why aren't I in that? I want in that.
Yeah, it's great fun. We've got an awesome trophy for it as well. Cool. And there's a variety of people across it. Some were fans of the league already, and others are people that I've successfully managed to convert through fantasy football.
Awesome. Yeah, that's a big tool, fantasy football. Just last week, I saw, because I take the bus from St. Ives to Cambridge for work. It's about an hour bus ride, but I saw a Bills hat in the Grand Arcade Mall in Cambridge, and then I saw a Bills t-shirt when I was taking the bus on the way home. Has anybody seen any Bills gear in the wild? Anybody?
Not at all.
No?
Not at all.
Not in this country.
All right. So I think I'm just going to go spend a good weekend in Cambridge looking for those two guys just to see if they follow us. So
I
always more of that.
I always see Bills fans in Disney World, but never over here.
Right. Yeah. So that's the measuring stick, though, isn't it? You know, I want to see some Bills gear at the NFL London games.
I think that'll change over the next few years. Yeah.
It's all Allen. I mean, he's got the personality.
Yeah,
he's got the
absolutely.
stats. That'll be a big boost. So hopefully we get
Also,
more followers.
there's plenty of people been hiding for 20 years. So
yeah. Right. Yeah. Yeah.
No, I mean, guys, thank you very, very much for coming on the show, joining me and Alex, talking the season preview, talking everything that's Bills. And for everyone else, give them a follow, give the Bills from Afar podcast a listen, give us a listen. And for Charlie, Chris, and Alex, Matt saying, let's go Buffalo and go Bills.
Go Bills.
Go Bills.
Go Bills.
Go Bills.